This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian.
Mission 250.
What do we got here? Some kind of podcast?
Something we do every Wednesday.
And what do? We watch some kind of movie sometimes?
Yeah, from a list, sort of.
Is this on a list?
But not anymore. Oh, you know what?
It probably shouldn't be.
Yeah.
What, John?
Well, we are, because we split up the episodes, the next episode that's released, The Shining Part 2, is our 250th episode.
Well, this is going to come out after The Shining. So this will be a little trivia after the fact.
251.
I know. So it's always weird because of our release schedule. Yeah.
So The Shining episode Part 2 was the thing we didn't celebrate.
I think so, yeah. Yep.
So if we had stuck to the list, we would have been done
because,
right now, is what you're saying?
Yeah, if we just stuck to the list.
We still have it. Yeah.
Thank God we didn't do that.
Yeah.
We thought it was a 5-year mission, right? Has it been 5 years?
Fuck.
No.
Yeah, 2016.
No.
August 2016.
Shit. Holy shit.
It's
Where
been
did the time
5
go?
years.
Oh, cheers,
Fuck
guys.
you, John.
Cheers.
Fuck you for bringing that up.
Cheers. Yeah,
Cheers.
fuck
Me,
you.
I know.
That's right. Fuck you. What the hell, man?
I was happy before. I was a little tired. I was still pretty
5
happy.
years.
Nothing like getting old with your friends. Come on.
Yay.
Jesus.
Thank God for technology. Thank you, Skype. We were just talking shit on Skype. It's free. We've used it for 5 years. Thanks, Skype.
That's true.
You're really weird.
true.
You change in weird ways all the time, but it's
There you
still
go.
free.
But
So
Thanks
still
for
works.
letting us do this for free.
Get all teary about Skype.
Thanks, man. Skype's like the fourth
Get a
host.
little fucker, Skype.
So what are we doing here? We're watching a movie. I've been asking to do this movie for a while. This movie's called The Green Knight. It came out this year. It was supposed to come out in 2010, but the pandemic happened like right around. I think it had supposed to be at a festival March in 2020, and that got canceled, and just been holding off. I don't know how. So it's my turn to go first in this review.
Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
I'll start by saying that this movie, if I had watched it before, I wouldn't recommend. I don't think TC's going to like it. I think John's going to like it, kind of. I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of my friends, but I really liked it. And this movie is this movie is made for me. I love these types of movies. Yeah.
Why?
Did you like, what was the other movie?
Why do you like these
I was
types
sort
of
thinking
movies?
Of this. Well, yes. There was another
let's
movie that
dive
this
into that.
compared
Yeah.
to, but go on, Dave. Why is this the Denny movie? Describe the perfect Denny movie.
Why do you like this movie?
This movie is like a nightmare, and I love movies that just have this
it's that bad.
No, it's that it's totally
disorganized
consistent and
and
confusing.
sort of nonsensical, and then you forget it when you wake up, but are still scared.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that. And that's why I liked it.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's just Oh my God, Denny. All right, keep going.
It's a nightmare.
So TC, I know why you're not going to like it. It's gonna. I mean, the story doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and John's going to try to explain some of it. I assume you tried to read some of this 400, 500-year-old poem.
I read the whole thing.
You read the whole thing, dude. I tried to read some of it. Holy shit, it's hard to understand.
You got to read the right translation. It helps. I read the Armitage translation, which is like modernized. You can't read the original. It's not. I mean, it's
whenever
a
I tried to read
almost.
though, it was like it was in English, but it was like
no. But
some of the words were
the more or less original English. It's still unreadable because of the way the language has changed. So you can't.
Maybe that's what
really,
I tried to read.
Yeah. That's near impossible. So, but there are. I'll go into a book quarter, but there's like a lot of translations, which is really interesting. Like J.R.R. Tolkien did his own translation. The author there's a companion book for this where there's a translation in there. So there's like tons of books. Like you look up like, I'm going to read The Green Knight. And I looked up the book on the Amazon. I was like, oh shit, I got to do some filtering here because man, there was, and I'll get to it. But the translator I ended up picking, Armitage, he was just talking about how because nobody knows the author, it sort of lends itself to people wanting to take the work and sort of modernize it or make it their own somehow. And maybe that's kind of partially why. But it's kind of impressive how many different translations there are. Or like, it's not even a translation. It's more like a modernization trying to make the text fit what it was like then, but have it be readable to people who speak English now. Anyway, with all that being said, this movie is based on a book that was from 400, 500 years ago. Poem.
Arthurian times.
It was a series. It was just a poem. It wasn't a book. So
it was a poem, but it was a story.
Yeah.
I didn't know that watching this movie. I thought all the title cards were just like stylish little.
Oh, right.
It's like, oh, this guy is trying to be Wes Anderson or something with these little pop-up titles going into the movie. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Whatever that title was, and then it has like all the little. Yeah, the first like half of the movie has title cards throughout it.
Right.
Yeah, this movie is just superficially beautiful. Every shot is very stylized, and the colors are great, and the definition is really cool. The landscape shots in a lot of the parts are beautiful, and there are a lot of things that kind of look like there might be set extensions for castles and things like that, but it's either like it's not, or the CG is really good to the point where I can't tell if it's like fake or not. Like some of it seems like it might have been on a set, but it doesn't look like. I mean, it looks. I don't even know how to describe it. Like the colors look like it's on a green screen, but the way they walk across it makes it look like it's real.
No, it's where you get this almost dream feel to it.
Yeah.
I think and it's really beautiful. I think it would have been great to see in the theaters because just of how sort of. I agree. There's sort of a strangeness, and you're describing it really well. I was just like, that's weird. I don't know what it is. So I think you hit it though. But there's this like strange, artificial but real sort of
weird.
like look to the whole thing.
Well, it's also too. A lot of the shots have like it's not a rectangle like a normal movie with light filtering off the edges like it normally would if that's the edge of the TV screen. There's a lot of shots where like what you're looking at is like circled in like black shadow almost, and like the outside of what you're looking at just doesn't exist. So it's like you're looking through a pinhole at whatever you're supposed to be focusing on. So it kind of gives you kind of like a point of view, like you're watching this story happen, but you're not a character. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? Sort of thing. Like a lot of this movie is what the fuck is going on? Every time they tried to develop the plot, I was like, why would he do that? Why is he going there? Who is this guy? Why did that happen? Like every step of the way, it was kind of like,
It's just so over the top. I'm sorry. I don't find that to be good. I found that to be distracting and
very
annoying.
Artsy.
It's like over the top.
It-
It's like, how hard can you try to make this artistic?
Yeah.
Oh, The
Yeah, and
Fountain
it's
was
like-
another movie I was sort of thinking of for some reason. One that I never got
That made
through,
more
but
sense.
It was,
That made way more sense.
I
than
know,
this
but it
one.
was still very, I don't know, it's just very artsy seeming and strange. And anyway, but
I don't know. The color profile was weird. It just
I liked it.
the stupidity of like adding in these weird characters and the witchcraft. It's like, hey, let's put in as many things as we can so that the user or the viewer can be like
the user
accepting of this. Yeah.
Somebody's been working.
Yeah.
too
I
long.
know. So the viewer can be accepting of this, right? Like, so
Right.
like they like when they watch it, they're like, well, she said witchcraft, so it doesn't matter how weird it looks. We can make it as weird as possible.
I would. Would you
Yeah.
agree that the world needs more foxes in movies though? Because I
Like
love the
talking
CGI fox.
foxes?
I love the CGI fox.
Yeah.
I did
don't
too.
know.
It was
Oh,
very
Anyways,
CGI.
keep going, Denny. Keep going.
I know. I just like foxes. So I was like, oh, there's a fox. Oh, there's the fox. Oh, the fox is still. Oh no, the fox is in a bag. Oh no, it's okay though. That's good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just to continue with I think I'm just gonna keep pointing at the nightmare thing. This
Keep
movie
going,
kind of
keep
reminds me of like an adult version of the Neverending Story, where that was kind of like a nightmare too. Like they're reading a story and there's kind of like a background narrative of like this person needs to go do this. I forget what it was in that movie, but it was like, I don't know, go find something. But this is also like you need
I
to,
haven't watched that in a long time. All I know, I was sad when I saw that, so I've never gone back there.
this is kind of like this is all fantasy, right? It's like you have a journey.
Yep.
His journey is to go to the Green Chapel, and then as you
Yeah.
go to the Green Chapel,
Oh, yeah.
you stop at little instances of either
Right, that all makes
weirdness
sense. You know,
or,
he's like on this quest. He does this really weird challenge, which makes no sense, and then he's got to go back there, and
Yeah.
then he runs into things along the way. That all fits.
That's all it
kinda,
is.
you know.
Yeah, it's
That is all it
just
is.
extra weird, and the individual places that he visits, they don't really make a lot of sense either. But it's all strange in a way where it's, I don't know, it's appealing. It's super watchable. I think. Like I was
Is it?
glued to my. I
For
thought it
Denny.
was very,
I don't
very
think.
watchable.
Yeah, for Denny, I didn't think it was watchable.
I
at
can't
all.
wait until this
Miserable.
is available to buy because I'm going to buy
It's
it.
known as Dennyable.
Yeah,
it's
Dennyable.
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it is super art house. So if you're, I guess, in any way adverse to art house things, then steer clear because I don't think you could
Yeah.
ever like unless you have some tolerance, you won't be able to get
But
through it.
I will
think.
say, normally, I kind of hate that. I don't know, this overdone, overthought seeming thing, but I enjoyed this too. So I
agree, John. I don't know.
That's
Something
what I
about
really
this.
liked. Yeah, that's what I was impressed by.
Is it? I don't think it really. It doesn't. It's not.
I
drenched
don't
in
know if it is. It
pretentiousness.
feels like it is. I get that same feeling, and I often was like saying, normally this would annoy me, and it's not annoying me, and I don't know why, but I appreciate that it's not annoying me. And
exactly. Yep. I had the exact same thought process. I was like, this is almost exactly like movies that I don't like in this exact type of movie. I don't know why this one is different, but I'm just not being annoyed by any of these things in other movies that would be like pretentious or just like, look at how artsy I am sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like this one just had something else to it where I just honestly don't know what it is. I don't know why I enjoyed it. I think it was just because the mood of the movie maybe was so consistent where I just was lost in this weird world that like, just a weird world to like wander around in, and it looked great. And you never knew what was coming up next. Like I didn't know you're going to see some giants. The fox was going to start talking. There was that whole, like, I don't even know. I have a lot of questions about that.
It started horribly with like, I mean, it would have been nice. It sort of starts horribly with this horrible blah, blah, blah voice. It's like Nikki likes watching.
I didn't even
theater. She's
understand
like,
what it said.
Yeah, I don't
know what
understand
she's
either.
saying.
I cranked my
I don't
TV. I
like
was like,
this.
what is this?
I
Yeah,
had
this
to
is not a
rewind.
good intro.
Yeah.
It was
I know, I had to
immediately
rewind.
like put her off, and I don't blame
yeah.
her. It's like,
Same.
But as soon as that guy's head caught on fire, I was like, whoa, that's
well,
pretty
that
sweet.
was cool, but it
But
could have
that's
been,
all
it
it is.
might have
I
been
mean,
nicer
that's-
with the, you might start off with a nice English
movie.
voice, so tell the tale of the told. No, like,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That wasn't even my problem. I couldn't hear it, man. Like,
I couldn't understand
I
it.
can understand
I didn't
it
understand
either,
a
but
word.
yeah.
I didn't understand a word.
It's like
It was
that you're
supposed to be
kicking
like
off the
open
movie
up.
this way. You're
Yeah,
inarticulate. Let us tell you the tale of.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, too bad
All
we
right.
didn't hear what the tale is.
I'm all excited to hear about because I can't
right.
wait to see what happens there.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
And I'm sorry if I hear those stupid choir voices one more time. That was the most annoying part of the movie.
Yeah.
Was the choir voices that would come back in the score over and over.
I assume, and maybe you have trivia, Denny, that I'd imagine maybe they were trying to have the music and choral stuff be like time appropriate, but I don't know.
Nope, not enough trivia for that yet.
No, okay.
This movie's still $20.
They didn't know what they
that's
were
gonna
doing.
be-
They were just
that's a
throwing
rough
shit at
bit.
the wall and be like,
Maybe they were-
that sounded really artistic.
Yeah,
That looks
that's right.
really artistic. We're really artistic, aren't we? I mean, I can just picture these assholes jerking each other off in the edit room. Like, no, color it blue. No, I don't know. I think the red looks better. I mean, Jesus Christ. That fucking, I don't know how you like this movie. I don't know how anybody liked this movie. Movie was fucking miserable.
Yeah,
I watched it the whole time.
I can understand. I don't think you're off the wall saying that by any means, CC.
I
That's
sat
why-
there
that's
and
why-
was like, this is the slowest, most over the top, fucking up its own ass art film I've ever seen. It's like some fucking kid went to film school and was like, how do I make something look pretty? I fucking hate this movie. And I started, when I watched the trailer, Denny, when you're like, we're going to watch this, I watched the trailer and I was like, this is going to be a fucking nightmare. And then it was, according to Denny.
See, exactly
It was
what Denny
perfect.
said. It's a nightmare.
He called
See?
it. He
It's a
called
nightmare,
it.
TC. Perfect.
How about that? It's a nightmare. Yeah,
We're in
great.
agreement.
Oh, it's great. I wasted fucking $20 on this movie. You got to be shitting me. I don't know how anybody would watch this thing and be like, that was fucking amazing. I don't know, Denny. You got some weird sensibility, my man.
I
That
do.
movie. If you don't
really?
like,
Yeah.
if you think art people
Even-
are
but
over the
even,
top,
like-
this movie's not for you.
To be fair, again, that's what I think is kind of special here. Because even Nikki, who would hate this stuff too, we were both saying this wasn't bad.
Same with
Or-
Naomi.
and-
She
and-
hates the art house shit most of the time, and this one was enjoyable. I don't know why.
So, but I
Not for
completely
me.
understand you feeling
Yes,
that way.
agreed,
too.
'cause it's not too far off.
Get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because, so I watch kind of a lot of these types of, I watch whatever has good reviews. You know, and art house movies get good reviews all the time. This movie, not surprising, has like
It's got a
85.
50-50 on the audience meter.
Right. So
Which,
the audience
yeah.
meter is shitty, but the critics meter is way to the top, which happens all
Yeah.
the time with art house movies, right? It's like the
Yeah.
critics are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, they're saying something. Oh, it's so deep. You can really read into the shit." And
Right,
people like
right.
TC is the audience. He's like, "This is fucking boring art house shit."
Yeah, exactly.
So that's exactly what this,
the 50% meter also tells me that like it's one for right. Like
Oh,
one
yeah.
person
Yeah.
might like it, the next
Yeah.
person might fucking hate it.
Yeah,
So,
you don't know how
you know.
enthusiastic those people who liked it are.
well, no, it has a C cinema
Yeah.
score, which means half
Oh,
the people
okay.
gave it an A, which I probably would have done walking out of the theater, and TC would have given it an
Yeah.
F. That's a C right
Yeah,
there.
the guy next to him.
But
is
we
like,
don't know what
"Fuck
the
this
distribution
movie."
is there. Maybe they gave
Yeah.
it B's and D's, right? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe. When you're walking out of the theater, are you going to be able to have your opinion enough to be like, that was a B-, I think. I know what I'm talking about.
7.52.
There's somebody in the theater that absolutely believes
That's
that.
true,
Yeah.
but that's not me.
Yeah.
I just feel like they like
like
ask
it or
me,
didn't.
like, oh shit, they work for the movie company. I want to be nice. Hey, and then I fucking run away.
right.
It's like, give me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was like,
So TC, so what I was going to say is that I do watch a lot of these movies, and I don't know, John, if you do. I don't think you watch as much as I do, but
Not lately.
I am desensitized a little bit to this type of thing where I'm so used to how extremely bad this type of movie can be, how art housey it can be, like way more than this one, that I don't really think that this one is that bad.
No,
even though I
what's the
can
worst
recognize
one in your opinion?
it's
if you think of
one of the least worst art house movies you've
exactly.
seen, which doesn't
the
scream
worst art house
great.
movie
I'm
I've ever
sorry.
seen, and it has really good reviews, is called Upstream Color.
Huh.
Okay.
Oh boy. That
Let's
does
see.
sound-
Let's see what the audience versus the critic score is on that one, because they got like awards or something. Some people put it on like the best of the year list. I watched the entire thing, and it was
just
bad.
huh?
Really a lot of nonsense. Yeah, it's the
Yep.
exact same thing. So this movie, The Green Knight, has a 6.8 on IMDb and an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes. Upstream Color has a 6.7 on IMDb and an 86 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's the
Nice.
exact
So there
you
fucking
go.
same thing.
It's the exact same shit.
Yeah.
With the exact same people being like, it's amazing.
Yeah. So if you like Upstream
Yeah.
Color, and even if you didn't,
you
might like
you're
this
gonna
one.
love this.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're gonna
Or
love
maybe you'll think this is too shallow, not
Yeah.
deep enough. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's dive into our guilt and our fear with really over the top color and slow, boring.
And like we're
discussions.
a very, very slow 360 degree pan.
Yeah, that'll be good. Oh, but it's dead. Is he dead? I don't
He's
know. He
dead.
might
He's
be.
alive.
Oh, let's do another
he could be
360.
dead.
And I liked
What's
it
with
because
the
I liked it.
Giants? The Giants say he might be dead. I don't know, but he could be alive. Hey, there's
He
a
could be
fucking
alive.
thing with an axe.
Let's take another look,
Yeah.
but we got to go the long way.
Yeah, let's just pan all the way around.
You know what? That reminded me of Stalker, that shot,
Yeah.
where it's like,
Oh,
here's
yeah.
a bunch of like wet forest. Let's just slowly move the
I
camera.
really love the scenery. I love the forest, and I was happy. That's part of it. I think
shit,
whatever they did for whatever else was going on, I liked the visuals of the scenery and,
Agreed.
and the way they did the forests and the backgrounds. Like even looking at the huge castle complex as he was riding away from it, I was always kind of like happy to like contemplate that stuff. Or even what was interesting. It's like this is possibly the ugliest King Arthur and Guinevere you'll ever see in any circumstance. I've never seen. It's like, wow, they're old and ugly. I mean, not ugly, but they're just old and worn out. That is not how the poem describes them at all, by the way. The poem is very romantic, and these are the most beautiful people ever. It seems like there's all these weird choices almost that you don't expect. So I'm sitting there like, instead of getting really annoyed with what they're saying or not saying, I'm like, wow, it's an old King Arthur. You just don't see that, like you know, in the prime of one of these stories. Maybe
This
you
is
see
not
old
what you're
King Arthur
supposed
when
to
he's
be
old.
thinking, though, Joe.
I know, but it's just
How do
it's
you
like
know? Maybe they
interesting.
knew that's what he was going to be thinking, and that's why they did it.
It kept me busy. I was like, so I didn't
Yeah,
get
because
just
it's so
annoyed.
slow.
This movie
Somebody needs to
gave,
be
gave
busy.
John
Yeah.
tasks to fill
yeah,
his
and
time
it did.
while
It's
watching the
like,
movie.
You
so
see the
boring.
fox at first, and my mind's going, that's got to be a CGI fox. Oh, there's a fox. We don't get to see many foxes. Is that CGI?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
my
Oh, there it's
God.
CGI. I mean, it seemed to give me something to do.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
all
5 minutes
all
of
the time.
dialogue went by. Nothing happened.
I know, but
And yeah, there you go.
It's just, yeah. So to me, partially, that sort of feels like there was always something going on that I was interested in that just seemed different. It just seemed to be like there were stylistic choices or oddness that was like different, and it just kept things going for me. And that might have been the thing. It wasn't just doing this like, ooh, we're going to do this one thing. Look at this. Isn't this awesome that we're doing this? It was more like all kinds of weird stuff was happening, and maybe that's part of what makes it okay, or at least like what made it. Again, Nikki and I sat through and watched the whole thing, and we were both going, we're not sure if we like this, but
Yeah.
we sat there and watched it. And Nikki normally is pretty quick to leave if it, you know, and she was already like 1 foot off the couch when that lady started speaking at the very beginning. You know, and that was almost like, I'm out. It was like, blah, blah, blah. All right, that's enough. Good night, John.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Denny, you got more? What do you got?
Do I have more?
Does anybody know what the movie was about?
Yeah, I got questions. Can we go through, John? Since you read the book, TC, do you have anything to get off your out of
my
your system?
chest?
Yeah.
No, I think I pretty much nailed it.
Okay. It was
All right.
pretty clear to me how you felt. So that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The movie is a lot less straightforward than the poem. So the poem actually makes a bit more sense than
That's
quite
terrible.
a bit
Poem's
more
old
sense
as
than the
fuck.
movie.
I mean,
Makes
you
more
can't
sense.
make less sense than 0 sense, right? So that's not surprising to me.
So that's
That's a good point. You're right. You can't go
That's funny.
negative
Yeah, right.
sense.
Yeah.
right.
We're at 0.
You can't
Where are we
owe-
going to go?
You can't
Yeah,
owe
yeah.
sense.
Laterally
You know?
only,
Right.
or more.
No. The story in the poem is actually quite straightforward.
I read the
there's
Wikipedia because I tried to read the actual thing.
Well, first of all, there's an absence of characters. There's no mother. There's no girlfriend.
As you go through this, can I ask questions? What was the point of the mother's character? Let's just talk about the friggin' plot
so
here.
we have
She's
to,
a
we
witch.
have to ask the author in the way. Well, I can't find. There's no mother in the poem.
Right. So what's the point of the mother in the movie?
So what's the point of the mother in the movie is, I don't know. So there's. I think
you
she's
really
like,
had
she's
me
supposed to
thinking
be
you were gonna
like
say something
Morgane,
smart right there.
Morgane,
No.
Yeah.
who's like the witch. Like maybe she's Morgane, who's like the witch that had it in for Arthur and was trying to make things bad for Arthur. There's some hint of that at the very end of the poem, but it's not.
What
a
was
big
she
deal.
doing when the Green Knight came into the castle? She was casting a spell then and there. I
Yeah.
thought she was controlling the Green Knight to come in, but that was her son that challenged her and basically doomed himself. So why the fuck would she be involved?
Well, she was
doing any
trying.
of
She
that?
thought so. We can speculate that she.
We have to speculate. We're not going to be
in
right.
the poem. In the poem, and I don't know if they did. Did they do this in the book? In the poem, it's Arthur who is about to accept the challenge and about to go and cut off the Green Knights to accept the challenge
because
he
all the
didn't want
other
his-
knights are afraid, right? That's
and the Green Knight basically talks shit to them until Arthur says, "All right, that's enough." And then Gawain says in this really sort of nice way about how I'm the least person here, but I won't stand to see this. And then Arthur lets him take the blow. So the idea might be is that Morgane had set this up to that she knew that King Arthur would take the challenge, and then this would be his downfall or something, and that might have been the whole point. And then it goes away.
But that doesn't happen in
and
the
then it's
movie
her
because
son.
Arthur doesn't even come close to challenging the Green Knight.
I know. So that's the thing. That's the weird thing. So yeah, and again, another odd point that the movie does is like Arthur gives him his sword to do it, which is Excalibur.
Is it?
Which yeah, that's the name of that sword for King Arthur's sword. Was
Surprised they didn't
Excalibur.
name drop that.
Some watery tart held up her hand and the sword in the lake. That one. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway. So
Now you're stuck in friggin' Monty
I
Python.
am,
John. Come on,
I'm
come back.
stuck in like,
Come
I
back.
want to watch the Holy Grail
Yeah.
again. Anyway, he just had the axe. He didn't Arthur didn't give him his sword to use or anything like that. He just the knight brought it was BIOA. He brought his own axe and then handed it to Gawain, who chopped him off.
Wait, so
Yeah,
the Green Knight gave Gawain an axe to cut his head off?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he said, take the axe. Give me a blow with this axe that I bring, and then I get to return it in a year's time.
How stupid are these people playing this game?
Yeah, why? That was the whole
What's
thing.
the incentive?
Why?
I don't understand it.
I thought he was going
Right.
to get his power, but all he's going to do is be able to hold his axe around town for a year before he dies? That's a terrible deal.
Yeah.
Who's playing with these people like that? What the fuck? What kind of weird rock
No,
ghost is
he
this?
doesn't get he doesn't get to keep the axe. Sorry, I mean it's more like you get to.
This movie should have been called The Rock Ghost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rock ghost. Hey,
He's
rock
not
ghost.
very
I'm not
green.
playing.
He's more of
I'd
a-
be sitting there and I'd be like, rock ghost.
Yeah.
I'm not playing your game. This doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? I get to pin it. What am I doing here? I'm chopping your head,
Right.
then you're chopping my head.
Somebody
What's
just
going
said,
on?
right,
What's the point
look,
of
there's
this?
a guy
Yeah.
that looks like a fucking tree who's
Yeah.
bringing an axe and telling
Hey,
us
tree
to cut
rock
his head
guy.
off.
Yeah.
And it's a game to him. We should probably not do this. It's
Hey,
probably
guys,
not a good
you
idea.
know
It's
my best
probably-
answer is
yeah.
we don't do this. I don't know
Right,
about
yeah,
you,
yeah.
but
Right.
right.
And again, in the poem, by the way, he's not. There's no rot. He's actually very beautiful, and he's still green, but he's a very, very handsome green.
I thought he had
And
antlers
so-
in the story.
No, not in the poem.
I watched a YouTube recap of it, and they in the animation they put over it, they gave him antlers for some reason.
And in the Armitage translation, maybe they take some of that stuff out. So it's not entirely fair. It's not like I'm reading the original. And there are many people that can have different interpretations of the text, I guess. So, but there, at least in the Armitage version, it wasn't like he was antlered or anything like that.
Huh.
But it's just strange the choices they made, and certainly they certainly didn't bother to uglify their main characters or make the main characters seem grimy, but they certainly were happy to make all the other characters grimy, you know, like the king and then doing that with the knight
You
as
mean
well. Even
2 of the 8 people in this movie?
yeah. That's true. That's fair. 3. So Arthur, Guinevere, and the Green Knight himself were all like not pretty, and when in the poem they're all excessively pretty.
I did like the makeup on the Green Knight. He kind of looked like a live action Groot.
I like Rot Ghost. I think that's a pretty good
Rock Ghost.
description.
Oh, yeah.
Rock Ghost.
Rockos.
Oh, it's Rocco. Hey, Rockos. How's it
Hey,
going?
Rockos, how you doing? Yeah, no, I'm not
okay.
going to play this time. You're not going to get me this year.
That's right. Chop off my head.
Yeah,
No,
right.
no,
Yeah.
Pull me
Yeah,
once,
Merry
you know.
Christmas to you and yours, huh? Yeah.
Mhm.
No thanks.
TC would have survived.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
survived. I would have been walking,
That would
fine.
have been fine. You've
Walking
been all right.
pretty. Yeah, I'd be like, nah, this guy will do it, though. He's a jackass. Yeah. No, chop his head off. See what happens next year, you dipshit.
Yeah, I read.
The whole
So,
story is so
so
stupid.
in the companion book, we can get to this if we shoot.
Does
go
he
to book
die?
corner.
Switching to the
Okay.
end. Does he die in the end?
I thought he was already dead.
So in the
Dead
poem,
since he was fucking, I don't know. Who knows? Who
That was
cares?
like a vision, right? When he like
No,
cowered
off
it
with
out
your head.
and ran away. And
Yeah,
then, like-
yeah.
Yeah,
So then he
like,
came
no
back.
matter what, you're gonna
Right.
lose your head.
Right.
Yeah,
That's true for everyone. You go, but you want to
Right.
live a little longer, right? What's the
Well,
point?
you're gonna die. You're gonna
Hey,
die anyway.
sure.
But so you might as well face the things that you said you would, no matter how absurd
Unless
they are.
they're going to kill
Something
you
like that.
and then run. Come on.
Right.
That's the real
Right.
lesson.
But I mean, when he went into his little, dream there, he got to go home and get laid,
Yeah.
have kid.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Right.
You talking about?
Steal the kid, go get laid by a different woman.
Fuck off.
Be king.
I'm going home,
It's
guy.
awesome.
Yeah, Rock Ghost. Go back to bed. No one needs you.
Yeah, I don't know. But in the poem, for what it's worth, it's the Green Knight is the man of the castle that we meet earlier, where his wife is trying to seduce him. It's the same man who is the Green Knight, and he rewards Gawain for being honest with him because so in the poem, when he's staying at this castle, each day his wife tries to seduce Gawain and gives him a kiss each day, or like 1 kiss the first day, 2 kisses the next day, 3 kisses the third day, something like that. And then the huntsman is playing the game with Gawain, saying, whatever I get out in the fields, I'll give to you. Whatever you get, you're going to give to me. Then Gawain kisses him at the end of each day, once, twice, and then 3 times. And the wife, though, the third day gives him the girdle, the belt, the green belt to save it. That's the first time we hear of the belt, unlike some odd weirdness within the movie where there's the belt at the beginning, too, that his mom gives him. But in the poem, it's the wife that gives him the belt and says, don't tell my husband this. And so he doesn't because he thinks it'll save his life. And then what happens is it comes to the time of the head chopping for Gawain, and the Green Knight is like about to do it, and Gawain freaks out at first, but then he settles himself and accepts his fate, and the Green Knight's impressed by this, but still gives him a cut on the neck. A cut doesn't, not life threatening or anything, but slices him, and he does it, and then he reveals that he was the huntsman, the man of the castle, and then he said, he said, twice I spared your life because of your honesty, and then I gave you this cut because you were dishonest and because you didn't tell me about the girdle that my wife had given you. But he'd set his wife up to try to tempt him as well.
What the
What?
fuck? What?
Yeah.
Why?
But at least that's
these
a
fucking
little bit
weirdos.
more.
Yeah.
The only reason
It's
people are
600
focusing on
years.
this story is because it's so old. The story
Yeah.
is so ridiculous. Like, there's no lessons to be learned from it. It's just complete nonsense. The fact that so
Right.
many people have translated it just makes me, I don't know.
In the book corner, like each of these books I've read, including the companion book, has a pretty nice forward. So I can go through some of my notes there when we get to that. Part of what people say about it is the language of the poem is so amazing. Early on in poetry or in Anglo-Saxon poetry, all it was alliteration. That means like the consonants sound the same. They didn't rhyme. So the way they did poetry was, like catch, can. I mean, the words that would just sound similar through consonants. And it wasn't until later that poetry started to mean rhyming. And then this is kind of a hybrid version where there's a whole lot of alliteration, but then at the end of each sort of part or stanza, I guess it's called, you have a set of rhyming sort of verses. But most of the lines in the poem are heavy with alliteration, and apparently it's really beautiful. It's like really well done. So part of it, at least for people who study poetry is that the structure and the language in the poetry is really amazing. Like you saw that, I'll quote that line, but that line, about the words lasting a long time, it's beautiful. I mean, I think anyway, so some of just from what little I was like reading of this translation, I thought, you could kind of see how there's some really amazing sort of, there's an amazing way the words are put together. And I think that even more than the story is partially why that this is so famous.
That's really funny because like this movie has so much silence in it. So let's make a really long movie with a shot where this guy's riding away from a castle and it's going to last for 2.5 minutes. Just no dialogue.
How stupid are those kids? They just followed him for fucking like 10 miles? What was that about?
But I'm sitting there during that scene enjoying looking at that castle
I like that
town.
shot too. But I was like, I think TC's going to hate this shot. I'm pretty sure he's sitting at his home and hating that shot.
One thing of that shot. I'm like,
I like how they brought the sheep
so far
in.
away.
Yeah, it's like, the sheep.
So far
Look
away.
at that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gotta get a sheep wrangler in Ireland,
Yeah. See sheep. I also liked at the beginning, it's like, there's like, what were there? Was there like geese chasing goats or something? Something weird. Some animals like fighting that I'd never seen before. I was like, see that? But I've never seen that before.
Just a lot of new experiences for me and John, TC. That's all it is.
Yeah, I guess so.
A lot of nightmare fuel for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're going to have a great dream.
What was scary?
It's not a nightmare for
I
you.
wasn't that scared. Were you
I'm
scared?
not scared. Like, I'm not scared when I'm
What's this
watching it, but there's such weirdness in this movie that it just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's stuff that I've, never seen before. And shown in ways that I've never imagined that something like that could be shown.
It's stuff that you may never see again because nobody needs to see it.
Yeah, well, it's making money, so they might,
Yeah,
try to bring it to
someone's got good marketing people because Jesus Christ, they put together a trailer that like had all the most interesting parts, and then you go watch it and you're like, so those are the parts. That's
I don't know. There is
Cool.
a big fan base for this A24 production company, and I am one of them. I've watched a lot of their movies, and
He did Pete's Dragon?
this
Oh, this is
director
the
did
director.
Pete's Dragon.
Did he?
The remake of Pete's Dragon.
What happened?
I don't
So-
know.
I
so
haven't
well.
seen that.
He also did Ain't Them Bodies Saints with Casey
Yeah.
Affleck back in
Is that
2013.
any good?
That was a good one, yeah.
I feel like I remember that.
That's the only other one I've seen from this guy, David Lowery.
So what is the studio that
A24. You guys heard of that?
I think we've seen some stuff.
We
right? No?
have.
Yeah.
So,
It looked familiar when the card came up.
yeah. So they've done a ton of stuff. We did Minari. That was A24.
Oh, good for them.
Uncut
All right.
Gems. Uncut Gems is A24.
Oh shit. Okay. That's
okay.
2 for 2.
Okay.
And I think there's a bunch. So the ones I've seen. So Spring
So they're
Breakers
rounding
kicked them
out their
off.
slate with stupid shit.
They just do whatever they want. Anything artistic where
Yeah.
they think someone has talent, they'll give them money to make whatever that
Yeah.
person wants to make.
Or they'll just buy up their movies.
I thought somehow Spring Breakers people really hated that film. I don't think I ever saw it. For some reason, I thought there was a lot of hate for that
I
film.
didn't
but
love
I don't
it,
know what I'm thinking.
but I saw it in the theaters, so it made a lot of money. Yeah, so A24, the big ones I think are Spring Breakers, The Bling Ring, The Spectacular Now, Enemy, yeah, Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, but
Under the Skin.
but it fits. Oh, that was a weird one.
That was a good one.
I only watched like parts of it too because it was I don't know.
Lock, that was a good one.
Mm.
That was like all inside of a car, and it was what's his name on a phone.
Oh, you're
the
locked in
entire
a car
movie.
the whole time.
No, he's just driving in a car on his cell phone. His last name is Locke.
Oh, I thought he was locked in a car. It was
No.
like kind of a room, but okay, look, it's like room, but
It's
you're
room,
in a
but
car.
it's a car.
Tusk,
It's
the
even
one,
less space.
the one where the guy gets
Daniel
turned into a
Radcliffe,
walrus.
isn't it? Is it Daniel Radcliffe's in that
No,
one?
no,
Harry
it's
Potter?
Justin Long.
No. I thought I just could swore.
You can look that up.
Okay.
A Most Violent Year, Ex Machina, Slow West, Amy, the documentary about Amy Winehouse,
Oh,
The End of the
You're
Tour,
right.
which was really good.
Kevin Smith was the director of Tusk. That's why
Yeah.
I remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
The End of the Tour. Have you guys seen that one? That's a really good one.
Yeah.
No.
It's about David Foster Wallace, the writer. It's kind of like a dramatization of.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's real good. Room. They did Room. Yeah.
Oh God.
They
Shame.
They did The Witch. I don't think you guys have seen that one.
No, is that
That's
good?
one of my favorite movies of the past 10 years. But I wouldn't necessarily
Oh.
recommend it to either of you.
You
two.
wouldn't know. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess
So
we
it
won't go
not
there.
necessarily.
Cool. Got it.
Yeah.
Check.
Green Room. That was really good. You guys both.
Was it Patrick Stewart, as a killer?
Yep.
Right? For a punk band or something? Like they were
Yep.
in a,
Nazi
what?
punks. Nazi punks.
Nazi
That
punks?
sounds outrageous.
It's really violent and pretty scary. It's pretty good. The Lobster. You guys see that one?
No.
I watched parts of it and didn't get into it. It was very strange. Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah.
Though? Yeah.
Swiss Army Man.
And you die in The Lobster. You like
So what you either get married before you're like 35, and if you don't, then you get then you turn into an animal, but you get to select which animal you turn into.
Yeah. So it's like some
sounds like a good art
dystopian-
house one there for TC. I think you might like that one.
Yeah,
TC,
I mean, line it up.
What kind of animal would you want to be if you didn't get married?
That's a really good question. I wouldn't be a lobster. Those things get boiled alive. That'd be the last animal I would select.
I wouldn't want to be a lobster. That's the rat of the sea. So I don't see why anyone would want to be that. I don't eat lobster. I wouldn't want to be anything near a lobster.
You hate them so much you won't even eat them.
I hate them. I won't even eat them. That's right. I don't know. That's a stupid question.
It is a stupid question.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Swiss Army Man. You ever see that one?
That sounds familiar.
That's one of the best movie intros I've ever seen, I think, without risk of sounding hyperbolic. Yeah, the intro is way better than the rest of the movie, but it's fucking awesome. So yeah, you just turn that on, watch the first 10 minutes. You will laugh your ass off. No question.
Really? Okay.
Moonlight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Best Picture winner. Great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never saw it.
I don't think I saw it. Yeah.
It's put it on the list. It's if you're in for a very heavy drama movie that you will definitely enjoy. That's a good
Barry
one.
Jenkins, right?
Yeah. It Comes at Night. That was a decent one. I remember you saying you didn't like that one, TC.
I couldn't tell you what it is at this point.
Yeah.
A Ghost Story.
Of course it comes tonight. That's what scary things do. I mean, come on.
The Florida Project. You guys ever see that one?
That sounds scary.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
It had Willem Dafoe in it. It was kind of like it looked like it was shot on an iPhone or something like that. And it's about like the Florida, like a poor neighborhood in Florida.
Oh, that sucks.
Very good. Lady Bird.
That one I've heard. Have you seen Lady Bird? I've heard it's pretty good.
I've seen it a couple times. It's real good.
All right. Is that one you'd recommend?
Yes, to both of you.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
Again, keep that in mind then, maybe, because I know that one's streaming.
Yeah. The Disaster Artist. Great movie.
Never saw that, but yeah.
It's about
that's about The Room.
About
we
The
could
Room.
do that. Oh no, I know the original
The Room, not Room.
We
The
could
Room.
do that, and we could maybe do an episode and watch both films at one point.
Lady Bird followed by The Disaster Artist.
No, the actual The Room.
I don't want to watch The Room. Have you ever tried to watch The Room? Don't ever try to watch The Room. It's terrible.
Oh really? Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard it's like so terrible. It's entertaining as all hell, though.
Yeah.
Not so.
I mean, you've avoided it. I've watched it.
I have. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
I've watched a couple of those like so bad they're good movies, and some of them are just bad. I prefer movies like the third Jumanji movie to bad movies that are actually good. You want to see The Rock pretend like he's Danny DeVito for half an hour? Watch the third Jumanji movie. It's pretty good.
Nice.
First Reformed, Hereditary, 8th Grade, mid-90s, Climax, Under the Silver Lake, Midsummer, The Farewell.
Oh, Midsummer. Did you ever see Midsummer?
Yeah, buddy.
I was going to say, that seems like a real Denny movie. That one I saw and was really creepy. That's a really creepy
saw that?
film. Yeah.
Dude, I saw that opening
I
night. I think I've told you this before, but I saw that opening night in the theater where
And
you
you
go see a
laughed,
movie.
didn't you?
No, I didn't laugh. No. But people left. Like people went opening night to a horror movie that they've seen. Like the guy made Hereditary, and they wanted a scary movie, and people got up and left at multiple points in the movie, which
Because
I've
they
never
were
seen
scared
before.
or bored or what? I don't know.
They didn't like it. Like, I mean, so the two parts they left, spoilers for Midsummer, is when the guy gets forced to jump off a cliff and it shows his bone like going through his leg, and then they walk over and smash him with the hammer.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was unpleasant. And then there was the orgy scene towards the end where they give the guy all the drugs and he's like forced to have sex with these like unattractive girls as everyone's like chanting him on.
Wait, he doesn't have sex. No, he has just sex with the one girl, and all these other women are chanting him on. It's not an orgy. He's just having, the whole point is for him to impregnate
Well, they're all
that one
naked
girl.
though, right?
Yeah, they are all
It's
naked.
orgy-ish.
That's
That sounds
Come on.
weird.
There's a big difference between orgy and a lot of people being naked in the same room.
John's
Anyway.
apparently is.
I don't think
Expert
so.
here.
If there's sex, if there's more than two
distinction.
naked people and there's sex happening, that's an orgy. I think
No,
that's the
I
definition.
think you have to have sex with more of the other naked people.
I don't think so. You can go to an orgy, not even take your clothes off, and have some of the buffet they have laid out, and that's still an orgy.
Have a,
All right, let me
sex buffet.
Let me
Yeah,
go
there's always a
into-
buffet in an orgy.
Let me go
You get
into
hungry.
incognito
It's
mode.
like a marathon.
Hey,
Try
who's
to-
got snacks? Anyone got snacks? This is going on long, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, like I had some in my pockets, but
Anybody got any Starburst or anything? Getting a
So
little
we wanted
parched.
to define orgy, a wild party, especially one involving excessive drinking and unrestrained sexual activity.
There you go. So
So
I would,
that's
I would
not-
call that unrestrained sexual activity.
Okay,
Yep,
we can
yep,
go with that.
Yep, it's an orgy. It's
It's an orgy.
officially
Okay.
an orgy.
Yeah.
All right, let's back to our program now.
Back to the list. So there's just one more or two more. The Lighthouse and Uncut Gems are the last two.
Did you watch The Lighthouse?
I did. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Ex
that's,
Machina was good.
that's a
We
lot
like
like
that.
this one where it's like a nightmare and it doesn't make a ton of sense, but you might like it more because it's Robert
Willem
Pattinson
Dafoe.
and Willem Dafoe
Right.
are like the
Yeah.
only two people in the movie. And it's just Willem Dafoe being the best, like crotchety old sailor dude you've ever seen in a movie. You know how when you think of like an old guy with like Popeye
Yeah.
kind of, but like
Yeah, yeah,
real
yeah.
and just like grimy and stinky. And,
Yeah, I love those guys.
That-
Fuck you. Yeah, right.
Willem Dafoe does that in this movie, and it's fucking amazing. It's like one of the best
Nice.
things he's ever done.
Lighthouse.
Just
that
for
was the one where it was all black and white, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You can do it,
Uncut
TC.
Gems was
You can do it.
fantastic. Yeah.
Right, and Patton there. Nah, yeah.
Well, you want to do that one?
I skipped that
I would.
one. I'll skip that
I'd do it.
I
I
skipped
do
that
all.
one
I'll
on
do all
purpose.
of these,
Yeah.
but for your sake, I haven't even brought them up because I don't think TC would like the majority
Well,
of them.
I'm really glad we did Uncut Gems because
That was a good one.
Still,
That was really good.
Yeah.
that still has impact when I think about it. That one was
I liked
good.
that one, yeah.
John, did you ever see? This is good that we're talking about other movies because I have nothing else to say in this one. But you have some book corner stuff.
True that.
I
But,
got some book stuff if we want to get to it.
I do. But what was that? TC, you saw the guy that did Uncut Gems did before, and I think that was A24 as well.
With the about the brothers or something, and I
Yeah,
never saw
Good
it, but
Time.
it was streaming.
Good
too.
Time.
Yeah, good time.
That was A24 as well. Remember that one?
Oh, okay.
Don't.
It was also
No.
Robert Pattinson.
Oh.
It was like he had to go. What was he trying to do? He was trying to go steal something, I think.
With the brother that was Down syndrome or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that was a good one.
That was good. But yeah, there's Robert Pattinson doing good stuff. He went from that
Yeah.
one to the Lighthouse, and now he's going to do the Batman or
The
Batman.
Batman.
Is he the Batman?
He's Batman.
Nice. As if we need more Batman. God knows.
Oh, we're getting new Spider-Man too. You see that trailer drop? He's teaming up with Doctor
Yeah.
Strange. They're going to make buildings float into the ground.
Oh boy.
with webs
watch
and
out.
time travel.
Did you watch the trailer? It's
No, I
pretty
didn't.
funny.
Is it-
So
is
Doctor Strange TC can like fuck with time or something. I don't know.
Right,
He's
right,
stupid.
right,
His character is just like is a
Cumberbatch.
Deus Ex Machina.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the trailer, so this is not a spoiler because this is in the trailer. Spider-Man is exposed to be Peter Parker in the movie. So then he goes to Doctor Strange and asks him to like turn back time. So like nobody knows that Peter Parker is Doctor Strange. And
Peter
somehow
Parker
the
is
Peter
spell
Parker
is
is
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
sorry.
Parker is
Yeah.
Spi-
Yeah. But the spell doesn't work because like Peter Parker can't shut up when Doctor Strange is trying to do
noes.
it. Yeah. So like they go back too far and they transport themselves to Spider-Man
To the
number
dinosaurs.
2. To Spider-Man number 2, which has Dr.
Oh.
Octopus in it.
Oh geez.
So they
Oh,
went back.
Jesus, really?
They went back before Tom Holland was Spider-Man. They went back before Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man. Back to when Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, but not the first or third one. They chose to go to the second one.
And,
Oh,
and they
man.
show like Tobey Maguire there?
No.
They like
No,
or what?
Tom Holland is him now, but the guy they put CG Dr. Octopus, the guy who played him, whoever that guy is, I've never seen him before or since, but he played Dr. Octopus, fucking same age from fucking 20 years ago.
What?
CG'd, being like, I'm back, and you're like, what is this fucking movie?
Wow.
All right. That sounds
And that's all in
great.
a 2-minute trailer. So that movie's gonna make
Yeah.
about $600 million.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that one's
yeah.
gonna
Oh,
crush.
it'll do
it'll
well.
crush. Yeah.
It's got some
Wow.
Inception graphics too, where like New York City like bends into itself.
Oh,
you
well,
know?
that's Doctor Strange's thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks
I
pretty good.
actually I like the Doctor Strange
I did
movie.
too.
Yeah,
Those were
I
good.
did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cumberbatch was great.
Yep.
Yeah. He's always pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about here? We're talking about
I don't
Green
know,
Knight,
Knight.
some
The
old
Green Knight.
fucking movie with Gaelic and some other bullshit. Yeah.
filmed in Ireland. TC.
Ah.
Kind of like that. I was actually considering. I don't recommend too many movies to my parents, but I was like, yeah, they might enjoy it just to see Ireland in a weird.
No way.
light.
Not a chance.
No.
They're gonna
Okay.
hate that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good idea. Yeah.
Old people, come on. They're gonna see one shot of that friggin' thing going back and forth and be like, why did you recommend this?
Yeah, I do that all the time though. Like whenever I go home
Yeah.
for Christmas, they're like, "Danny likes movies. We'll have him pick one." I'm like, "Let's
Yeah.
watch the Tree of Life."
You gotta
They're like,
read
"Oh
the
my
room,
God."
Denny. You
I
gotta
know.
read the room.
Sometimes,
Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know,
The Tree of
sometimes I've
Life.
learned over the years, TC, you've helped with this. Where like I watched a movie like this, I'm like, that was great, but then I'm like, but I think TC's gonna hate it. I can't explain why. And I can't explain why I liked it, but I did.
Yeah, if
but
he
I wouldn't
hates
recommend
it,
this to him.
My parents are definitely not going to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because I'm lowbrow, mid-tier.
Yeah.
I'm
Intolerant to art house,
average,
which is fair.
Yeah, intolerant to bullshit.
Yeah.
Or to most things, really. Which is most
just
people.
generally intolerant, we should just say.
Intolerant.
Give me a subscription to Paramount Plus. Give me some SEAL Team, and
I
I'm
want
good.
to watch SEAL Team. Fucking America. Let's go.
All right, so John, what do you got for us in your
So
corner
there
of
is
books?
a companion book by Lowery, the director, writer, where he has this great intro to the poem.
He wrote a
itself.
book for this movie?
Yeah, there's the companion book,
No, I don't know. They actually do that?
Yeah, well, this
To
one.
explain what they didn't actually convey in the movie? To be like, all right, guys, I
Well,
understand it didn't make any sense, but
to
here's a
try
book.
to talk, and I don't know. He doesn't talk a ton about the movie.
Yeah.
He talks more about why he likes the poem so much, or why other people do. And
I
that's
read online that the reason he decided to make this movie is because he was doing a diorama with a bunch of Willow action figures in his windowsill, and the idea just came to him.
Okay.
Yeah. So is that gonna?
That's what
is that gonna?
That's what he.
Does that
there's
make
no
me
mention.
hate it more or less?
I would tell you in the entire introduction, there is no mention of Willow. So,
Aw. They even said that the thing when they get to the cage at the crossroads and there's a skeleton in the cage, that's a reference to Willow. Because there's a scene in Willow where someone's sitting in a
that's
cage
cool.
like that.
I like that better. But even though it shows sort of where this guy's coming from, it's like, he's trying to make art
He likes
house
Ron
movies
Howard
and-
from the
and-
80s. I mean, come
Right,
on.
I was gonna say exactly, and now he's gonna make art house movies. So you got those two things kind of going together, right? It's like that's Willow, but it's art house. Oh, that's all right. But so the author writes a bit about what he thinks about the poem, and I actually liked the different things that he wrote. He says he's trying to talk about how what it must be that this thing is 600 years old and people are still interpreting it and figuring it out and finding hidden meaning in it, and how it's probably a fair amount of whatever hidden meaning they have is really in their own heads. And he did, one of his quotes here is he said, well, when I make a film, I try to enrich it with thematic subtext, and I know there'll be accidental allusions and things that are unintentional and so on. He knows that there are those projections that other people will come and talk to him about that he had no intention of putting in the film. But then he's like, who am I to argue with anyone who takes the time to read that deeply into something I made? I kind of like that idea. I like that him saying that. He's like, wow, somebody's thinking really deeply about something I did. I'm not going to argue with them about whether they're right or wrong. I just like that. I thought that was just sort of a nice thing for an artist to say. But then he says, well, what happens when this process has gone on for over 6 centuries? So this poem's been around for this long, and it was written in a much different time with much different language. And so people interpret it all kinds of ways. And there's some interpretations of it as this really heavily feminist poem, or this poem that's really all about nature, or the more original kind of interpretations, it's all about chivalry and honor and duty to God and things like that.
So people know as little about the poem as they do about the movie.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And about the author.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's again, nobody knows it's an anonymous person who wrote this, which is pretty interesting as well.
I wonder if it was the same guy that made Bitcoin.
Yeah. He does mention, he sort of wishes, it was sort of odd the way he says this in the forward, but he says he looks back and sort of wishes he reflected more on what he'd written during the script, because the way he makes it sound is that he just read the poem and wrote the script kind of linearly, and then that was it. He was done. And he's like, well, now that I think about it, I kind of wish I'd sort of thought about it more.
Oh, so it would actually make
that was sort of-
sense and actually be a story. And yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't really have to, because the poem doesn't fucking make any sense, and the poem's been rewritten, and so
You can't argue. It's his artistic
can't argue with it.
license
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
yeah, right.
He did say that when it got delayed, he wasn't happy with the cut, so he spent the next 6 months after it got delayed at the beginning of 2020 to re-edit a lot of the movie. So
Yeah.
what we would have seen a year and a half ago would have been
And
different.
he says this may be a poem that resists adaptations, and yet I found myself now with a perverse pathological desire to try it again. So he's not happy in a way. He's just feels like he hasn't done the poem justice, and he's not necessarily too happy with the way it turned out.
Huh.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But the studios were like, "Hey, you're
I
out
don't
of
know.
time."
He's not like saying he's not necessarily whining either. He's not saying he's miserable or anything like that. He just feels like he wants to try again too.
He wants to make
He's
this movie again?
Please don't.
Well, so let's see. That's all I've got for that one. I mean, it was just more. Yeah, I mean, it's just that was more all I got for that book, and just kind of reading the introduction was sort of nice. The actual poem that I read then was from Simon Armitage, who's a British poet who wrote this really lovely introduction. Also, I thought about it in terms of how he was trying to capture he's like, I want to take this poem and try to give it the impact now in words in modern language, and try to keep the spirit and the alliterations and the way the words flowed in that first poem. But I want people to be able to read it and understand it, because you can't understand it in its original form unless you sit there and study it. And you're also maybe, that's what you do, is you study poems from around that time frame, because otherwise it's not going to make sense to you. And it was just sort of happenstance that it was found. It just like was lying around. And was like over 200 years, it was just sort of like not even discovered, after its origins. It didn't come to light until they don't say who found it again, or they do, but I don't care.
Nice.
It was put into like a compilation book of historical documents, is what I read.
Yeah, and the person who wrote it is not the author. So the person who the one manuscript that they have, the writing is they're pretty sure it's not the author very much. So. It was more like this was like written down by somebody else. So there may be even something lost there in terms of like the person who wrote it was not the one, or the person who wrote the script was not the one who wrote the poem.
So he dictated it to the person writing
Maybe they
thing?
dictated, or they knew they may have been handing it around by memory. I don't know, but that's a long one to have by memory. So maybe it was dictated. Yeah, I don't know. That isn't like said. So it was just a scribe. Yeah. So and again, it's interesting that. The author here just talks about how, because it's anonymous, that it leads people to want to maybe work on it. It's not like people take Shakespeare very often and want to redo it or modernize it or translate it or give it new meaning. But he thinks because
they do.
there isn't an owner. Well, they do, but not so much. Not like this poem in a sense where, because the author is unknown, it feels like that's like why it's so common for scholars and poets to take this poem and try to change it and modernize it.
Revise the written word. Okay, yeah, they don't do that.
Yes. So he was just saying that because it's like, he was saying like if like some other famous person early on had grabbed this and done that, like Keats or Pope or one of these very famous poets, if they had grabbed the Green Knight early on, then this might not even have happened at all. You might have had this one version of the poem because some other early poet could have just made it their own.
When you say grab it, you mean translate it, or do you mean just steal it and say I wrote this?
No, not steal it, translate it, but make it. But somebody who is like classic could have made it their own, and then you wouldn't have all these other authors.
Because they were so well known, no one would just go ahead and make it. Right.
Yeah, and so and again, it's why you have like you look this up and there's dozens, it seems. And including like J.R.R. Tolkien, who it was his version of it was published after his death by his son. And you know who J.R.R. Tolkien is, TC?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Sounds
I think
familiar.
you should. Is that insulting?
I don't read. I
I know.
So
that's
it's
why
all
I was just
good.
wondering.
Yeah.
He's like he's the guy who wrote the Lord of the Rings.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
That
I don't
nerd.
give a shit. Yeah,
The nerd's nerd.
that's gonna be a movie I definitely don't want to watch.
You might like it.
Yeah, we'll see.
And again, sort of, he gives some examples like of the original, like, describing the peaks of the mountains as these rough knock nars with nard stones. It's again just you
Not
have
nars
this, like,
with nards.
Nars
right?
with nars and
Yeah,
nars.
but you don't see how the words all like they have the same consonants to them, and that like this was in the original text. That was happening all the time, and that's poetry then.
Right.
And
right.
it sounds a little almost comical in a way. Where now the poetry is more about rhyming and so forth, but the alliteration was very popular. If you have like a line like, again, I don't know if he gives a translation of that line. No, he doesn't translate that. I was going to tell you like here's like here's a line where it's like, "Forth I wis by your vial, then to me behoves." Doesn't sound like English, right?
Yeah.
Because that was like the original sort of language, and so you're not, as Denny, you sat down and tried to read it, you're going to be like, what the fuck, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to spend because read it and it's not going to make sense. So why keep going?
Yeah,
right.
That is exactly why I stopped.
But it's fun reading the Armitage introduction because he like talks about all these different lovely words that are just gone, that were part of English but then just died, and how that's in a way it's sort of sad because there were these words that fit very well in this poem and like were would express something just in the way they sounded, and that now they're just not in use anymore. And again, this sounds like corny, but I do like the author's style when he's describing what he's trying to do in terms of how he's trying to keep the spirit of the words, but add his own, like modernize them and try to keep it, and how he's going to be changing it. And he just says, I hope the readers will be able to see this as a kind of controlled and necessary flirtation rather than carefree unfaithfulness or mindless infidelity. Anyway, I like it. It's fun.
So not an orgy.
Yeah, not an orgy. Way to bring it back.
Yeah, okay, got it. Now we're getting somewhere.
So here's this line. So here's one line: by light that any daylight limned upon earth. So that was one line from the poem. And his version is, so as morning was lifting its lamp to the land. Again, how he's showing how he changes the word. He's trying to keep the spirit and the sort of sound of the line, but the word lemmed no longer exists to us. But he also talks about how he loves the word lemmed, which means back then meant illuminate. Like he said, you just say that word and it seems like you're saying light or you're bringing light, but that word is gone. And so he's like rephrasing things so that he can use a word that modern people would understand.
I don't really think about how words just go away. That's pretty weird.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. I know if
no one's used it. What do we throw this in the trash? Yeah, throw it in the trash.
It just dies. And maybe you're a poet. You're like, I really love that word. I have a
What is it? Just like the guys at freaking Webster, just like, hey, you heard this word in the past couple of years? I don't think I've ever heard that word. Just I crossed that one out.
Someone ask Oxford. Oxford, you heard anything? Yeah.
No. We haven't used that word in years.
All right, it's gone.
All right,
Labs out of the dictionary. All right, what's next?
Yep,
but it just falls out of usage, right? So it's more to that. I don't know. Maybe that'll happen less now. Everything's on the internet, so nothing dies, I guess, or I don't know. But so even he was saying that there's so much that's really not known about a lot of the poem, including like they don't know how you really should pronounce Gawain. So it could be Gawain or it could be Gawain. And he's saying in the poem, it seems like the author is if you look at the way it fits in terms of the alliteration, the author is doing both. Mostly doing Gawain, but then sometimes using Gawain because it that's what makes the sentence fit in terms of the way that the meter goes.
Huh.
So again, even just like starting with the basic name, we don't know, but everybody goes mostly by Gawain. And let's see. Yeah, so that's going some stuff about the poetry, which is, again, it's sort of interesting to think that nowadays, if you think of poetry, it's rhyming, and we're so used to that. But there was a time when that was not what poetry was. And that's just kind of interesting to think about that their poems were, I wonder if their songs had rhymes even back then or not, if they didn't rhyme then either, but if it was about our alliteration. So, but I did like reading this. I don't know. There were, I have some, so getting to the poem itself, it is pretty cool sometimes. I mean, it wasn't always hard to read, but or even this translation. But I don't know. It's just some of these lines are pretty cool. So like one is like when they're introducing kind of the landscape and what's been going on in history. One of the verses here is, and wonder, dread, and war have lingered in that land where loss and love in turn have held the upper hand. I thought it's just nice. I like reading some of this stuff, which is, I don't know. I don't read poetry very often, so it's pretty cool. And the other one, like again in the intro, which I really like because it sort of happens to allude to the lastingness of this poem. I put this in like that email too that we sent out as part of our preview. But it's this phrase, and it has been inked in stories bold and strong through letters which once linked have lasted loud and long. I don't know. It's cool.
It sounds nice. I have a hard time.
Sounds nice.
When you say it, I'm just like, I don't know what that's trying to say. I can't understand.
Yeah.
It's too poetry.
Might as well say the R's, Nars, and the Narns, R's.
Little nargles, sparkles, beagles.
Would have been the same thing. Yeah.
I know. Anyway, so Arthur from the poem is beautiful. He's the handsomest king to be crowned at court from the poem. Not some like really, really tired, almost dead old guy.
What did his grandmother write about this? Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe so.
This is his grandmother. He's the most handsomest boy in the court.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
not and regarding the queen, but not one stone outshowed the courts of the queen's eyes. With hand on heart, no one could argue otherwise. So again, the queen was also very beautiful, according to the poem.
They probably had to write that way just so they didn't get beheaded or whatever.
Yeah,
Guinevere
right?
wasn't
Guinevere,
around
she was
at
a
the
real
time.
troll.
I mean, that was all stuff of legend. Yeah, I guess he still wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, people did write
You're
about
beautiful. You're beautiful. Yeah, sure. Looks like a foot.
Yeah, yeah. And again, the Green Knight is described as very handsome, not like rotting ghost, as TC would say.
Rotting ghost. My
it.
man.
Was it rock or rot?
Rock ghost.
Rock.
Rotting
Ghost.
ghost. Rock ghost. It's all good.
It's all good.
It all fits.
He's an old tree.
Yeah.
So, and here, if you would like to hear, if you're getting bored, I can kind of stop, but I can tell you, I can go through more quotes and descriptions from the poem. How are you guys doing?
I hate to be a naysayer, John, but I don't understand
Yeah.
the quotes. So I'm just kind of I agree they sound nice, but I honestly am getting not that much out of it because I don't understand the language.
It's hard. Well, we'll try to here's the Green Knight's challenge. So we'll try this one.
Okay,
see
let's give it a shot.
If he gets you there, if you want to hear, this was his challenge. This is how he presented the game. So he said, at Christmas in this court, I lay down a challenge. If a person here present within these premises is big or bold or red-blooded enough to strike me one stroke and be struck in return, I shall give him as a gift this gigantic cleaver, and the axe shall be his handle to carry how he likes.
So literally, you could have walked up to him and just flicked him.
Yeah,
And that would have
that's
been
true. And then you would have been good, right?
Right,
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe you don't have to, right?
Right. No, chop his head off. Yeah, that makes sense.
But in the end, he still only half chops him in the neck. So what's the lesson here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because in the movie, I thought that he was just going to die. Like they cut before he
Right.
actually cuts him in the neck, but he goes,
Right.
and now off with your head, and then it rolls credits, and you're like, yeah, he took the belt off. He owes him a fucking chop in the head. He's going to die.
Yeah.
That end of story.
No,
That's
but he
it.
doesn't die in the poem. That's again, it's odd the choices that the author makes here in the movie. But the other thing that's fun is, and they don't show this in the film, which kind of might have worked, is the Green Knight taunts them and sort of goads them into somebody accepting the challenge. And you don't really see that in the film.
That whole scene was so confusing. It's the basis of the movie, and it doesn't make any freaking sense.
Right. It would have been better if they showed this, that the Green Knight's calling them out and taunting them and sort of getting the rise out of King Arthur, and then Gawain steps in. That makes sense, right? Because he's like, so here's the house of Arthur, he scoffed, whose virtues reverberate across the realms. Where's the fortitude and fearlessness you're so famous for, and the breathtaking bravery and the big mouth bragging, the towering reputation of the Round Table, skittled and scuppered by a stranger? What a scandal! You flap and you flinch, and I've not raised a finger. I don't know. I like that, right? He's just sitting there calling them out, and
He sounds like the ghost of Christmas present.
Does this guy show up every year? This guy show up every fucking year and do this?
all right,
Yeah,
you guys have been patient enough, so I can stop there.
You think
'cause
there'd be notes somewhere written down or talked about where they're like, hey, guy, you don't have to chop his head off, by the way. You can
Yeah.
just
I would have
You don't have to,
appreciated
right?
Brian Regan sitting next to me with a notepad and be like, he's angry.
Ooh, I see.
Right.
All right, I'll stop there if you guys are.
right.
You guys have humored me enough,
right,
but
yeah.
it's fun. I do appreciate it. I know I appreciated getting the chance to sit here and try to read this poetry for a while, and it was kind of fun to do that. So, and if you like this sort of thing, then it's definitely the Armitage edition is the one to get. I think as far as getting introduced to the poem and reading it in a form that is understandable.
Good rec. I'm glad you're finding stuff to read because I'm not sure there's going to be much next week. Are we ready
What's
for this
next
yet?
week?
Yeah.
What are we doing
So
next week?
first of all, top 250.
Hell no.
I'd say no, but I don't say I'm not as nearly as firm as TC.
Yeah,
will say.
hell no.
Yeah, I'll go no as well, but I'm definitely there are a few people that I'd recommend. This
I enjoyed
to.
it, and I would recommend it for some people.
Yeah.
I think, and again, I think the uniqueness of it is again that I don't know how many films do this where you're like, I shouldn't like this, and normally I wouldn't like this, and yet here I am, and I'm engaged in it, and that to me is very impressive.
It's always good when John is just
It sounds
impressed at himself.
That sounds
he's like,
terrible.
I'm impressed that,
That
what I'm
movie-
doing is something.
That movie
Good
is
job,
so
Pete.
bad. If
I
that's what
didn't
the
mean it that way,
reaction
but
is.
everything.
Yeah.
I tend to have this
That's
tendency
funny.
to.
You're trying to give
Yeah,
the movie
I know.
credit, but really you're just patting yourself
I'm just
on the
really
back.
complimenting myself.
Yeah.
That's all it comes
right.
down to is
Yeah.
good job, John.
Yeah. You know,
that's
like I
me.
would hate this usually, but since I don't, Yeah, that's a
good
good
job,
reason to
Pete.
see a movie, guys.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
that's listening.
So how did
That's
this
true.
movie make John feel about himself? It's pretty good. That's really
well,
the
then I
I'm gonna
guess then it's
recommend it to
something
other
worth
people.
seeing.
What else could you ask,
Yeah.
really?
Can he compliment himself while watching the film? Then
He
that's
did.
all I want.
Oh, well, then you know what? Let's get that. Let's rent that. $20?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
who cares, right?
Let's go to a good cause, TC.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's true. Independent film.
That's
Hey,
what you
this
tell
studio
me.
is awesome. I'm glad they do the work they do.
Yes. So next week, we're watching the 2012 movie Django Unchained, directed by
Ah.
Quentin Tarantino.
Nice.
Nice.
The synopsis
I like
is,
that one.
with the help of a German bounty hunter, a freed slave sets out to rescue his wife from a brutal plantation owner in Mississippi.
Yeah, it's a good movie. All right.
All right.
And would you guys, so just thinking ahead, would it be too much to back this next bonus episode? Shoot me down because I picked this one. But Hateful Eight,
I'm in.
think about it.
But Hateful Eight came after Django, right? So
It
we
did.
do Django,
Django, then Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. What Pulp Fiction is like way up the top. We're far
Pulp
away
Fiction's,
from
I think,
that,
like
right?
in the top 10, I think. Yeah.
That's the only other Tarantino film.
think so.
Yeah.
Well, we watched the German one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We watched Reservoir
Inglourious
Dogs.
Bastards and in Reservoir Dogs.
I think it is.
Yeah, let's do the Hateful Eight.
Okay.
Eight. Yeah.
Sweet.
We'll do Django, then the Hateful Eight.
And
Maybe
neither of
I'll
you have
grab
seen The
some-
Hateful Eight, right?
I have not. I've seen parts of it. I've never watched it all the way through.
Okay.
They're like
think I
sitting there in the saloon forever, and I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I think I have.
But so
Yeah, I gotta go.
I gotta leave. This
Yeah.
is taking way too long.
There's no poem
Yeah,
to
it's like-
read. There's nothing to do here.
there's
I'm
no
outta here.
scenery here.
There's no
Yeah.
freaking CG
Right.
fox in this. What is this? What am
Yeah,
I
what
watching
is
this
Where's
for?
the fox?
Yeah, what the fuck?
All right, guys.
All right, let's watch that.
All right.
Yeah, let's
Talk to
go.
you
See you
next
guys
week.
next time.
All right, see you guys.